Morning, Oj. Welcome to episode 91, back in the confines of Studio 1. How are the roads on the ride in today?
Yeah, you really had to want to get here today to come and do this, I'll tell you that. Four-wheel drive right from the edge of my driveway all the way to your driveway. One truck in the ditch, which isn't bad, I guess, on a day like this. It's actually not even that stormy out, but we had probably 4 to 6 inches last night down at the lake.
Yeah, I was surprised how much there was this morning out here.
So after walking Little Max down the road, I had to do some scooping and some shoveling. But here we are, enthused as ever.
the doldrums of winter are setting in. Hey,
God.
Well, we need a day off of school.
Yeah.
Let's get into, this is the first week since basically August that there's no football whatsoever.
Yeah, I was just looking at the sports schedule today. Not only is there no football, but there isn't a whole hell of a lot to watch today. I mean,
Illinois and
Illinois, Ohio State, 1 o'clock game. So there's got to be another Big Ten game after that. Both
Oregon.
Michigan and Michigan State played yesterday.
Michigan State got beat.
They did. They got beat at USC. They didn't play very well. They struggled to guard USC, which was surprising because the games I've watched them, they've been so good defensively. But yeah, they struggled a little bit. Michigan kind of had a little bit of a clunker too with Rutgers, but they won. So those two are out of it today. There's nothing going on. Probably watch the Illinois game.
Probably dive into Netflix
No, not till tonight.
tonight.
I'll flip around. Maybe there's an NBA game or something later on, but probably a sauna day. We're making shepherd's pie down at the lake today.
Oh boy.
How about that?
Oj's menu every Sunday, I like it. So we went from chili. How'd the soup turn out?
Good. It was. It's always tough to know how much barley to put in a beef barley soup.
These are one of life's mysteries.
It's usually I put too much, which I did again this time, but it was solid. But yeah, and I'm not talking like, I don't want to hear from people say, oh, we make shepherd's pie all the time. My mom made that when we grew up. I'm talking real, traditional Irish shepherd's pie. That's what we're making. Not stuff that you can, not a recipe from the back of a mashed potato box. Real, traditional Irish shepherd's pie.
Are you going to dress like a shepherd? I think you should do
I'm
that.
dressed like I'm Irish.
What do you mean with a glass of Bushmills in your hand?
Guinness, too.
Let's get a little take on the Super Bowl, NFC, AFC Championship games last week. Philadelphia and Kansas City are going to rematch in the Super Bowl coming up next Sunday. A couple of decent games.
Yeah, they were. Like we said, though, you can't get through a Kansas City Chief victory without talking about the officials. And
yeah,
same thing there. I mean, it's just the spot on the one call was, I guess that's the one they keep talking about. But I don't know. I mean, they find ways to win. I'm so sick of them. I don't know why, I guess. I mean, I like Andy Reid. I don't mind Travis Kelce. I know you love those brothers. Who do you like better, Kelce brothers or Golick brothers?
I got to go with the Golics. I'm more invested with those guys.
Right.
It's actually father-son.
That's true.
But I do. And again, I softened my take on Travis Kelce after listening to their podcast. He came across in a whole different manner than he does when he's doing his show.
Matt from Mohawk says he looks soft. It does not look like a physical, athletic tight end.
Yeah, he'll be a factor Sunday though.
Oh yeah, always. So anyway, that game was the officiating was always in question again, but still, it's Buffalo's. They found themselves behind, having to make a drive. They did it. Kincaid, I think, was tight end that dropped that desperation pass there. Yeah, it wasn't like a drop. I guess you got to make that play, but boy, there's some good quarterbacks in that AFC that just can't get past Patrick Mahomes.
Well, two things with what you just said. The officiating with that spot, I thought that he had it, but Buffalo put themselves in that spot too by keep running that little tush-push thing and not getting it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like at some point, at a big point, maybe you got to do something a little different.
Do we give Jalen Hurts the credit on that with his, he squats like an amazing amount for a quarterback.
And Josh Allen always goes left. Kind of like you on the basketball court.
Yeah.
But I thought they didn't help themselves. They gave the officials an opportunity to screw them there with continually doing that and not getting it. And the other thing is what you said with Andy Reid. He's the difference the play calling with Kansas City is unreal. He puts those guys, he puts that defense in such a bad situation, and then you have Mahomes who can just, like I said, the check, everything was a check down right off the bat, a little quick passing game to slow down their defense, calling the little quick play actions. I think it was on 4th and 1. You know, Andy Reid he's going to go down as probably your best NFL coach of all time, especially if he wins this Super Bowl.
Well, it's certainly going to put him right up there. I mean, you know, Belichick, obviously, with what he did with New England, you know, during our era, we were able to see these guys. This is, you know, we weren't there for Lombardi and Paul Brown and all that. But, yeah, it's an impressive run. I mean, it's hard to, there's so many frustrating things that do occur. We talked about the Mahomes stuff and the late slides and all that, but you got to beat them. And
you know the other factor with this, it's something I've been harping on. He's got a defensive coordinator who's staying there, who's just doing his job, enjoying it, and Spags does a phenomenal job. I know everyone's beating this to death in the world of sports, but bringing the corner on the blitz underneath the edge rusher on that 4th down play was
genius.
It was genius, and the Bills still almost made the play, but a good call. So I think Kansas City's going to be a tough out.
Yeah, and the other side of it, I called it, by the way. I'm going to pat myself in the back because actually patted my wallet a little bit too that day.
Ooh,
the mighty Philadelphia Eagles laying a whooping on Washington, and we said that Washington's got all week. I mean, they haven't stopped Saquon Barkley in 2 games in the regular season. They got a week to prepare for it, and that's the one thing they have to do. Everything, right? You got to stop the running game, slow Barkley down, and they didn't do it. They couldn't do it.
First play
done, yeah. So, and I think that's going to be, you know, obviously that'll be the critical part of the Super Bowl. I mean, if Barkley starts having success and they're able to control the game a little bit with the running game, you know, it'll make it tougher for Kansas City, obviously. So, once again, well, we have a pod to do before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Do we got to get one in that day?
Absolutely.
Jesus. Any parties to go to?
There's rumor of one brewing on the shores of Torch Lake.
I saw that, yeah.
That works all good for me. I'll enjoy doing that.
We'll have to get there early. Leave by the end of the first quarter because Jenny's got to go to bed early to get up for work on Sunday.
Are you mocking your wife right now? Boy, you're flirting with death here.
Yeah, looking forward to it though, and we'll
maybe next week with that. You can have your list of all the different ridiculous prop bets.
The wager talk with Oj is back for a week?
Probably, because it is, I don't know statistics, it's got to be the most sports betted day in the year.
For sure. Saquon to win Super Bowl MVP. That's not going to be a huge stretch, but if Philly wins the game, he's going to be the MVP, don't you think?
I would agree.
I mean, what else is going to happen there? Hurts doesn't do enough, I don't think, with the passing game at this point. So anyway, we'll see what happens.
Are you going to bet on the color of Gatorade they dump on the coach?
Well, I'll confer with Heikki Carhu on that one.
I'll bet you he's going.
Wait, has he had a roller coaster of a week?
Really?
Oh yeah. I haven't heard from him today yet, but as happy as he was on Friday, yesterday was not good.
The gods giveth and the gods taketh away. All right, Oj, let's get this. This is kind of breaking news as far as our pod goes, but apparently there's a blockbuster trade in the NBA last night.
I don't remember a bigger one off the top of my head, and I certainly don't remember one that was as surprising as this. I couldn't believe it. It all went down. I think I found out maybe 9-10 o'clock last night. It was a little bit later when it started to appear on the phone, but yeah, that was crazy. I think the Mavericks have officially said they are sick and tired of watching Luka attempt to guard people. I think that's what this comes down to.
Well, the guy they're getting, he'll be able to guard people and help them there, but
he'll be a little more of a defensive presence in the paint for the Mavericks, getting Anthony, say his name.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah. I almost said Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah, so Anthony Davis goes to the Mavs and Luka over to the Lakers. That'll be an interesting little pairing with him and LeBron to see how they handle who shares it, who has that basketball in their hands and who they're playing through. But Luka, I mean, I grew sick of him last year during the playoffs. That's the most I watched that guy. I didn't realize that he's been out most of the year. You know,
Out of shape.
or December. Yeah, he's been out for a long time. Hasn't played since December, whatever. He doesn't guard anybody. He's fat. Doesn't condition. Sloppy. I mean, he can put up 30, 12, and 10 like nobody's business. I mean, he does that walking in the gym, but I think the Mavs are just getting sick and tired. Plus, he just bitches constantly at the refs.
He does.
I'm so tired of that too. So I was annoyed watching him last year, and then not paying a whole lot of attention this year. But apparently, he's worn out his welcome in Dallas, and they shipped him to LA. So we'll see what happens.
It looks like he always reminds me of the guy that just comes in and play noon ball.
Yeah, yeah, and no one can guard him. He gets 40. Yeah, exactly.
If he went skins, he'd be the guy with the hairy back.
Oh.
Yeah, like I said, I at least knew the names of these two people. He's probably a pretty good one-on-one player, but it's kind of interesting. So I was thinking about this, and I just kind of asked you about that. I don't pay attention to the NBA a whole lot, but when I was a kid, I did. And I remember the Pistons traded Adrian Dantley for Mark Aguirre, and that was kind of a big deal at the time. That both of them were pretty perennial all-stars, and then Pistons were able to get over the hump and win back-to-back titles with Mark Aguirre.
So did they win a title with Dantley?
I don't think so. I'd have to go back into the archives and check. I thought they won when Aguirre came in.
Well, they won 3, didn't they?
They won back-to-back.
Back-to-back, they didn't win
No.
It was in a space, just back-to-back.
That's when the Bulls dethroned them.
Yeah. And it was the Celtics. Okay, that's interesting. For some reason, I thought they won a title with Dantley. But maybe not. Yeah, I mean, I didn't, we didn't put our research people on the NBA trades over the last 30 years that have come across as blockbuster. Trade deadline is Thursday too, by the way, so there'll be some other things happening here, but I mean, you're not going to get anything that, that touches the enormity of this one, so.
All right. Yeah, we are. If somebody complained we weren't talking about the NBA last week, could be a record.
Yeah.
Local scene, I guess, the seasons are starting to wrap up, the high school sports seasons. And kind of a big deal in the hockey scene was they had the Trenton Showcase this week.
Yeah,
All
I
those
saw that.
local teams go down there. As far as wins, losses did not fare well, but I don't know that you go down there with, win all costs. You're playing good competition. The Calumet went down and they dropped 2 games to Alpena and Plymouth.
2 close games too.
I think all of these were close.
3-period games or 3rd-period type games. They had a chance to win both of them, but lost 2 tough ones.
Hancock actually split. They were the one local team to get a win. They had beat Rockford and they lost to Bay City. And Houghton lost to Orchard Lake, St. Mary's, and Flint Powers. I'm sure if you talk...
2 big-time programs there.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure if you talk to all 3 of the coaches of those teams that were there, they would all say the same thing, that, you look at it, maybe it's an L, but the experience you get out of playing those teams is something that is immeasurable as you head into the tournament.
Yeah, we're winding down now, got into February here, so as we start approaching the middle of the month, we can start talking tournaments and stuff too, so looking forward to that.
Probably 5-6 games left.
I would say. I watched the Cal girls on Friday night. What agonizingly tough loss that was. They had Gladstone at home.
Oh, I saw the score of that.
Gladstone's number 2 in the UP. They played Nagani, which was the big matchup earlier in the week, and Nagani won. But yeah, Cal came out and they had a tough time guarding Gladstone right off the bat. Gladstone really got to the rim whenever they wanted. And then he switched into that zone, and it just created all kinds of issues for Gladstone. Cal cuts the lead down at half, and then totally controlled the 3rd quarter. I mean, dominated. They scored like 19 points in the 3rd quarter.
Wow.
Went up 11, and then they got into foul trouble. And I don't know. I haven't talked to Coach Kempinen on what was said in the huddle or what the philosophy was at that point going into that 4th quarter, because the girls really played tentative, and I'm guessing he probably talked to them about, let's make sure we have good quality possessions, take some time, we don't have to shoot, quick. Probably wanted to, try to shorten the game a little bit with the girls in foul trouble, and they kept chipping away. Gladstone makes shots, goes up 1, Cal misses, and then a girl hits Cal was down. Cal was up 1. Gladstone got a rebound off a miss, and girl hit a 3 with like 12 seconds to go to win the game. So it was a pretty tough loss.
Speaking of Coach Kempinen, I saw him yesterday.
Did you?
You should have probably been at the SDC yesterday for Tacky played Grand Valley. They had alumni game. There were some basketball dignitaries in the house.
Was there?
Some podcast interviewees were in the house. Yeah, I saw Coach Kempinen there because Coach Mike Williams is in town with his Grand Valley State Lakers.
He's a top-ranked women's team in the country.
Tex women battled them hard. It was they put up a really good fight against that team. Willie's got he's got a pretty good squad there. Coach Borseth was in the house.
Oh, was he?
Yep, he was in the house. Who else did we see? We saw a lot of Coach Phillips was there. I got to see Scott Artley was in the house.
Oh,
came up to see Willie. A lot of people, some notorious officials. I shouldn't say notorious, notable officials. St. Ange and Gene Aho were in. So there was a lot of basketball experience in that wood gym at the SDC.
There was alumni?
They had alumni for the women's and then the men's team. They had the 2011 team.
Okay.
So a lot of those guys were back.
Wow. I guess I didn't know all that. I didn't go. We ended up snowshoeing yesterday, so.
I'm sure that was fun too, but.
Not really.
Yeah, so the local scenes, I think there's 5-6 games left in the basketball season, somewhere around there. We'll kind of crank that up as teams position towards the end of the season. Oj, we put it on the poll last week.
Yeah, I was wondering if we actually did that. I don't know how to find it, but.
Well, we put it on the poll. You had brought up about Catman betting against his team.
Yep.
So we put it on the poll, officially on the poll, is Tab a bad fan? And did you see the results?
I'm surprised they're this close.
Unbelievable. Did the response?
14,275.
Thought that Tab was a bad fan.
Yep.
And only 18 said no.
Only 18. Yeah, and one of those 18, I don't even know if he was on the poll. Another relative of mine, believe it or not. Rat job. He texted me earlier in the week about his whole philosophy. He's another Lion fan for life, but he's right in the same page as Tab on this whole thing.
Do you think because the Lions have been so bad for so long, you've compromised your values because you want to win some money?
There could be something to that, I guess. But yeah, only 18. It's almost like the 18 here is who was the one person that didn't vote for Ichiro, you know?
Exactly. But yeah, thanks to our fans for the turnout. Almost 15,000 votes on the poll.
Well, I hope Tab learns a little something about this.
Also unrelated to anything sports, we got an update last week. We had the discussion about boneless wings versus the real wings.
We did.
And we've established that boneless wings are just popcorn chicken with buffalo sauce, and we can't call them wings. Well, we brought up the fact that a certain James Thomas is a big boneless fan.
He's boneless already.
And we brought up how he uses rubber gloves, and we wanted to get a little more detail on that.
What do you have to say?
Well, James Thomas sent in a response to our discussion. He goes, I have nothing to rebut. Not sure why they call delicious chicken nuggets wings. Actually, wings are garbage. Way more work than they are worth. And yes, I have pulled out powder-free latex gloves at a restaurant to eat ribs. My nieces were appalled for some reason. I use them here at work all the time to eat Slim's cinnamon rolls. So James Thomas is not afraid to pull out the latex gloves and keep his fingers clean while he eats a meal.
I'm not even sure how to respond to that. Just right in public, huh?
I guess so. I guess the question I have is, why does he have them? But
I wonder how many he carries with him. Like, does he have a box like in the car or the truck?
Put it on the table, like the napkin dispenser on the table?
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, he must have these things in his pockets consistently, never knowing, during the course of the day, when you're going to get a cinnamon roll brought to you. Somebody drops off a cinnamon roll and a cup of coffee.
Oh, sorry, I can't have it. I don't have my powder-free latex gloves.
Or he whips those babies out and you can just see him stretching them down to his elbow as he puts them on. He's somewhat right about I don't know if the wings are overrated, but if you get a order of 8 and they're kind of, I don't like them sloppy. You got to have some meat on them.
Yeah. They got to be more than one bite. You can't just put it in there. And as Coach Leaf says, you can't just spin the wing and be done.
That's a good point. Coach Leaf said that?
Oh yeah, he always likes to, when you go for wings, he wants to spin some wings. That's what he calls it.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that.
Spin some wings.
I'm closer to a dry rub than I am the just dipping them in the sauce too. I don't like that, but yeah, it's still better than saying you're eating wings when you have the boneless things.
The popcorn chicken.
Latex glove boy.
Yeah, maybe we should put that on the poll if anyone else has eaten ribs at a restaurant with latex gloves on.
You'd hang him from a pole. All right. Copper Country Sauna is the premier sauna builder in the country. Holy crap. Led by two brothers-in-law that share a passion for saunas and want to provide custom saunas to Copper Country residents. When you are ready to throw some water on the rocks, visit our website at coppercountrysauna.com or give us a call at 906-281-9427. It's been a while since I butchered one like that.
That's pretty good. Yeah, well, it keeps our listeners on their toes and gives them something to complain about.
Or something like I just said, whatever. Piece it together.
Let's get an update about Hancock native Shane Burkar, coach of the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. We were off a little bit with their schedule last week. They only had the one game this week, which was yesterday. Yeah, it was a big one. At Northern Colorado, first place Northern Colorado, and things did not go their way. The Lumberjacks fell 87-69. Yeah. I did flip it on a little bit. I don't know if you watched any of it.
No, I did not. Well, I checked the score early, and then the score led me to not turning it on. Does that make me a bad fan? But no, they struggled. I mean, I was keeping track, and I was hoping they would have been able to, wrestle with them for a half and see where you're at going into the second half with them. But when did they get them at home?
March 1st, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah, they got about a month.
So it'll be interesting to see there, get closer to tournament time, how they respond and what they can do with that team at home. But obviously Northern Colorado is the cream of the crop in that conference right now.
Yeah, they are for sure. Pretty balanced scoring for the Lumberjacks, and Carson Tout he still threw up 19 boards. I watched a little bit about that yesterday, and he's pretty impressive to watch. Not like you watch games to see rebounders.
Well, the thing about that is it's rebounding is effort, right? There's a lot to it. You gotta want to be a good rebounder, yeah. But it's more than just that. I mean, you gotta be smart. Reading the ball off the rim, where these shots are coming from. There's the anticipation. Instincts, all those things go into it, and then you got to be physical and tough and everything. And he's got all that. I mean, I don't care what level you play at. When you're grabbing that many boards consistently, it's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. So hopefully they get back on track. They got a big week this week. Monday they turn around, they play at Weber State, and then Thursday, Saturday they're bringing the Montana universities in. So that Montana State Thursday at home, and then Montana at home on Saturday. So
let's get 2 dubs this week, get rolling, throw that game out the window, and have a good week for the Lumberjacks.
You got that right. So let's hear what Coach Burkar had to say after the tough loss in Northern Colorado. Okay, Oj, let's head to Crouchy's Corner, and we got another interview this week. We've been kind of on fire here with getting some people on the show to share their stories and connections with the history of sports in the UP. We mentioned this guy a few weeks back. Stepping away from the sidelines and the teaching and retiring. We had him on a year and a half ago with a little spiel during the All-Star game, but we were able to sit down with retiring head coach Paul Jacobson from Negaunee.
Yeah, it's good to hear from him. Talk about a guy that, just consistent success for many years. A guy that program has been at the top or near the top forever. You always knew what you were going to get going against his teams. They stayed consistent with their program and their philosophies on both sides of the football, and really good guys. So we had a blast competing over the years. Always fun getting some wins, but they took it to us a number of times also. So it's good to hear from them. And like I said, you had mentioned, and we talked about it in the interview, but 2 coaches at that school from I think it was 1967 to 2024. Dick Koski and Paul Jacobson. There you go. Impressive as hell.
So sit back and enjoy this interview with Negaunee's Paul Jacobson. Time to dig into the listener questions, Oj. We got a mailbag, and it kind of filled up late this weekend, but we got some topics, some questions this week. Kind of some interesting ones. Put a little thought into a couple of these here, but let's hear from Here Comes the Judd. He obviously sent this question in right after the games on Sunday with the drop passes and such like that. But he goes, with the recent NFL and NCAA close game losses, Ravens tight end Matthews dropping a 2-point conversion. Bills tight end Kincaid dropping a 4th down pass. Arizona Hoops love hitting a 3/4 court buzzer beater to go into overtime. What would be the most heartbreaking way to lose? What was one of your worst heartbreaking losses? Losing on a drop touchdown pass, losing on a 3-court buzzer beater, losing on a 9th inning walk-off home run. Judd, here comes the Judd.
Yeah, that Caleb Love shot, that, so I threw a little cash on that game, and took them in the money line. So it was not looking good. And all of a sudden he launches that frickin' 3 from 3/4 court and drains it. I mean, that's a tough one to come back from. When he hit that shot, I couldn't believe it. So it goes to OT and then they win, kind of going away in overtime. It was totally deflating for the opposition there. But he mentioned that in that question, and that was a fun. We talk about bad beats all the time, Gavin.
Yeah.
That was a good win. I just, coaching wise, we've talked about them. I mean, there's been frustration with both football and basketball over the years. I can't think of. I mean, most recent one, obviously, we just talked about it last week, that damn Maple City Glen Lake loss. I don't remember too many that, football-wise, where we lost on the last play. I'm trying to think back.
Oh, yeah, have any overtime games? 'Cause
Yeah.
that's usually where my head goes with
True,
that. 'Cause
true.
those usually end the game.
I'm trying to think if there was any Hail Mary. I don't think we had a Hail Mary that beat us, or anything like that. There was buzzer beaters in basketball. At West Iron County was one game that we never should have lost. And we got beat there. I do recall that. Professionally, I mean, it doesn't get worse than that Brewer thing this year for me. I mean, I lived with the nightmare of Montana to Clark forever, but that damn Brewer loss this year, that was, like I said, that one hurt. So those are the ones that come to mind. Glenn Robinson, the Bucks, he had a 12-footer on the baseline to beat Philly and go to the NBA Finals with him and Ray Allen, Sam Cassell years ago.
Yeah.
And Glenn Robinson missed his little baseline shot, which he drills all the time, and Philly won that game. That was game 7. So no, that was game 6 in Milwaukee. Then they had to go to Philly and lose. But I don't know. Those are ones that came to mind. I can't think of anything specific that would be the ultimate worst game as far as high school coaching wise. Just those little ones that come to mind. So what about you?
Well,
Let's get.
you're gonna.
We don't need to bring up Black Saturday. That's done. That's done.
This is one I think you're going to be surprised at. This goes back to my days as a fake athlete. We're going to go back to about circa 2000 era, somewhere around the 2000, give or take a couple of years. Twilight League baseball.
Oh.
Twilight League baseball, and we were. Remember, Ontonagon had a team in the league.
Okay.
A lot of those guys that you knew, it was good baseball. We obviously had a really good team at Quincy's. Coach Burkhardt was still playing for Econo Foods and Jay Burkhardt in those days. So we had good baseball. And remember the playoff game, best of 3. And I think it was game 2, and we were up by one game to close it. And I was pitching in the bottom of the 7th inning, bases juiced, tie game.
Did you load the bases or
No,
did you come in?
I think if it's in the 7th inning, I probably came in. But whatever, I'd probably the one who loaded the bases. But I would have been pitching the whole game and tie game. And I remember we got two outs, 2 strikes on the guy, and catcher threw the ball back to me over my head.
Really?
Yeah. Now, granted, I'm not real tall in stature.
Couldn't jump up there and snag that thing?
I made a rip at it, but
Right in the center field?
revolved over my head, landing, and enough time for the guy on third to get
got
home.
in, yeah.
So I just remember that game. I think
Who was that catcher?
we're not going to throw anybody under the bus. I should have.
Come
had it.
on.
No, we don't do that.
Give me a hint. Do I know him?
Probably. But yeah, so that was one there that always kind of bugged me. I think we came back and won game 3 of the series and ended up celebrating. But yeah, that was that initially came to my head.
All right, thank you. Here comes the Judd. What do we got here? This is Matthew from Normal.
No, you're skipping one.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Go to B.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't have it highlighted.
B?
See? Look at the letters there.
Well, I got to fit it in the paper.
All right. Oj, if you could put together a one-day music festival with any living or dead band musicians, what would your lineup be? That's a great question. You can pick 3. I'm going to pick 4, I think. Crouchy, if you could put together a one-day coaching clinic, I like this. Who would your 3 clinicians be? You can take 4 if you want to. They can be living or dead. That's Jesse from Appleton, who I don't know if you knew this, is a huge Shane Burkhardt fan.
Let's do this, Oj. We know each other pretty well. I want to take a guess at who you're going to pick.
All right.
Okay?
I'm doing 4.
You're doing 4. I'm going to take a couple, and Lord knows I know nothing about music. But right off the bat, you're going to have Dwight Yoakam. You're going to have, I would say you're going to have Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings.
You're wrong. Well, the first part of this, though, like I'm not going to have Dwight there. I've seen Dwight 10 times.
But you're putting on a music fest.
I'm putting on a one-day show. So I'm gonna, but I'm not thinking of the other people. I'm thinking about myself. I've seen Dwight enough. So he's letting me see people that are dead.
I guess I'm out there.
So I'm starting that show. I'm starting that show at about 2:00 in the afternoon. The stage is set, and we're gonna watch a 26-year-old, which puts him about 1953. 26-year-old Hank Williams walk out on that stage and play.
I should have had that. That should have been a name I threw out there. Hank Williams Sr.
Hank Williams Sr. That is how we're going to start off the day on a Saturday.
Not even messing around with these opening acts.
Like they said in the documentary, when Hank was on stage, you could have a naked woman on top of a giraffe walking back and no one would ever notice. Number 2, following Hank after about an hour break to update the equipment on the stage. We're going to have from about 1974, or whenever the album Dreams came out, Fleetwood Mac.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
robes will be flowing.
Oh, you got that right.
Like if it's a calm day, you'll have like some fans blowing the robes.
Yep. Maybe I'll be in charge of that. The fan up there. Oh, I can't. That's so. After that, though, you mentioned Waylon and Johnny.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna do all 4. I mean, what a concert!
Highwaymen?
To see the Highwaymen.
Teaser.
Huh? So they would be the they'd play from about 6 to 8 o'clock, and in the night, pitch dark, smoke in the air. Led Zeppelin.
Solid.
Taking us right to about 11 o'clock, probably pass out time. How about that?
That's a pretty solid lineup.
So I'm taking 4. I took 4, but I don't care if I broke his rule or not. Anyway,
that's a good question. You want to take a rip at who I have at my clinic? For those who don't know, I'm actually a big clinic. I've been to hundreds of football clinics. I like listening to people talk about sports. I actually used to go to basketball clinics too. Pick 3.
Well, there's going to be some guru of the Full House Tea probably, because you're still into that. Although you've seen, it's like me going to a Dwight concert.
That's a good point. I'll give you a hint. There will be no Full House Tea.
Really. So then you will go to. You're going to see that guy from Kansas. Whatever his name is.
The basketball coach?
No.
Football coach? Lance
Leipold?
Leipold?
Yeah.
I would, but he's not coming to my clinic.
Okay, so I'm 0 for 2.
I used to put together a pretty good clinic list back in the day when I ran the clinic.
Oh, you can have dead ones too.
Yeah.
Vince Lombardi?
No.
All right, I'm quitting.
All right, we're gonna start with. I got a good mix here. I got a football, basketball, and a high school.
Okay.
Football wise, Bill Walsh. I want to listen to him talk. One of the guys that really got the quick passing game, West Coast offense. I love to listen to him and his thought process.
Okay.
Okay. Basketball side, you'll love this one.
Not Bill Self.
Nope. Rick Majerus.
I saw him once.
Did you?
Yeah.
At the Mirage?
He would, it was, no, you know what, it wasn't a clinic, it was at a camp. He did those camps with Coach Regal when I was going to Wilmot back in the day, those Bucks camps.
Yeah.
He was there, Rick Majerus, so that's a good one.
He'd be a fun guy to
Oh,
talk
hell
to.
yeah.
I think I saw him one time we were out in Vegas.
Rick Majerus and George Carl would have been a good combo. They were buddies.
Yes.
You want to talk to a couple guys that, just call it like it is. That would have been interesting to see those two.
They would be fun to listen to.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then my third one is Bob Latzer.
California.
Yep, De La Salle High School.
Okay.
I've always liked them for him. If you look on my shelf over here,
They did the movie on him, right?
Yeah, and it was somewhat accurate, I guess. But I have books and videos right there on that shelf about him. I actually went to a clinic one time because he was on the list, and he backed out at the end. But yeah, I'd like to listen to him. 154 game win streak, De La Salle, Concord High School.
Mm-hmm.
So those would be my three.
Good.
Matthew from Normal.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know him?
I don't know.
Normal. What are your biggest regrets in life, or do you not have any, as you learn and grow from your past mistakes?
Well, that's deep.
I don't know if anyone who listens knows this, but I wish I would have bought years of retirement like you did back in circa 1997.
Wish I would have worked on my right hand a little more in high school. So just,
Go left.
a little ball handling drill once in a while would have been good. Consistent lifting in high school.
Wasn't
really good at that.
Wasn't a thing though.
No, but it would have been. Hey, everybody's got regrets. If they don't, they're lying, right?
Yeah.
People can have a whole book of them. You just can't keep looking at the book and reading the regrets every day. You got to move on and make yourself stronger from the screw ups
Hey.
or whatever you regret, right?
It's not about the cards you're dealt. It's
How the hell you play them?
How you play the hand. You got it. All right. You want to take this one, Oj? Because I got a feeling I'm gonna have to. This is going to take some time.
Old Leroy Puskinen, the big puss. Crouchy, you've touched briefly on your high school bowl coaching experience a few weeks back. God, I hope this continues to be brief. As a proud alumni of the Cal High School Bowl team, I was curious if you utilized any actual coaching strategies for your team. What did you do for practices, and how is it different than coaching a physical sport? Who would win in a Crouchy Oj trivia competition? I really enjoyed Santi's appearance on the pod last week. Maybe he should dethrone Mark Schlereth to be known as Anthony Stink Santi. Did he ref any of the basketball games you coached in, and if so, how would you rate him as a referee? Keep up the good work, boys. Leroy Puskinen.
Want some quiz bowl strategy?
Not really, but I guess we're
Well,
gonna get it.
secrets are getting exposed here. I actually take this rather serious. We practice a couple times a week. We have a buzzer system with legit buzzers that you use. As far as strategy goes, you got to have balance. You can't just have four guys that all know math or history. You got to have a balance to attack different areas of the questions. And you got to jump the questions. We have 2 to 3 of our 4 players are designated that as soon as that question is read, they're trying to buzz in and jump in and get the question. Because if you get the question right, you get 3 bonus questions. So as soon as Jim Cossey goes, in this state, boom, we got 3 guys buzzing in, rattling off states, hoping that you catch it. So we do have a strategy involved. You would be the first guy to jump in, and you would say Idaho, and then I would jump in. And
So you just want to be the first to get the
gotta
option of answering.
Yep, you have to get the bonus questions. You get 10 points for the jump in, 30 bonus. So that's how we got down in that first game. Is we got 3 questions. The other opponent's got 3 questions. It's 120 to rip. So there is some strategy. You got to have balance in the people that you're playing there. And then the other side of it is, as you get into the second half, if you have the lead, you have to slow play your answers because it's a timed game. So when you get that question right and you need the bonus questions, you got to milk the clock for as much as possible. Try and shorten the game.
Keep it on the ground.
You keep it on the ground, and then if you are behind, you got to get your bonus questions in fast so you can get back in the game. So
I got to be honest. I never thought I was going to listen to a word you just said, but I actually paid attention there.
yeah. Plus, the Lakes Brains have nice Adidas polo shirts that say Lakes Brains on them. Now
Can we get a picture for the pod?
I have some pictures. Yeah, I'll show you one. But yeah, we do kid, and it's been a good thing. We got a lot of kids that enjoy doing it. Our student body is supportive as all heck of those kids.
I'm guessing Crouchy would take me down in trivia right now. Well, part of it is he's a coach, so you're on all these questions. And
Well, but like if it was music,
you'll be like history. History's probably one of my better ones, but you'll be right there with me on that. You teach the damn subject. Sports depends, I guess, the era. Current events, I think I could compete there a little bit, but I think overall you probably, for those that don't know, if there's ever a competition for 80s sitcom trivia, like if you ever see that anywhere, get a hold of us, get a hold of the pod instantly, because there ain't anyone in the country that's going to touch Mr. Crouchy in 80s sitcom trivia, and that, you can bank it.
Yeah, Oj and I spent a rainy afternoon one day in Clearwater, Florida, recanting 80s trivia, and
that was
for
amazing.
some reason, the shows I watched when I was a kid, you want to go Dukes of Hazzard, I know that like the back of my hand.
Yeah, it's the skill level that he's got with that it's just shockingly impressive. In fact, if our listeners don't believe it, we should get some questions in on that just to show. I mean, it's hard to do that over a pot, right?
Yeah.
Cheat, but he won't have to cheat. The guy is damn good at it.
What was the name of the place they used to make out at on Happy Days?
Don't know.
Inspiration Point.
The Regal Beagle pops up all the time on Twitter.
I know.
I'll see that.
Oh yeah, Three's Company.
Yeah,
What were all the different landlord names? Anyway,
Mr. Furley. He was one, right?
Mr. Roper. Don't forget about Mrs. Roper. All right, Crouchy Oj. Why do you sound surprised when you receive a listener question from someone that you don't know?
Matt from Normal?
We already did Matt from Normal.
No, I know, but that's an example. We're surprised that we got a question from somebody we didn't know. Anyway.
After almost 2 years of pods, don't you think you might pick up a listener or two? Maybe you now have 11s of fans or even 12s of fans. You devote a portion of your show to Northern Arizona basketball and Coach Shane Burkhardt. It is an enjoyable segment of your pod for me. Garrett from Fairfield and I coach a Catholic youth organization team of 11th graders in Massachusetts. Our record is 3-4 and are currently in the final position for a playoff spot. Coach Burkhardt is from Hancock and so am I. Would you consider adding an additional segment for another coaching legend from Hancock? Garrett from Fairfield also gives excellent post-game interviews. This is Caskin, Flag, and Dwayne.
Actually, it never really crosses my mind that people actually listen to this podcast.
Well, I think that's what shocks us, is that people actually tune in and listen to this. Maybe because we put smiles on their faces from time to time.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still blown away by that, but I think we got to hold off a little bit on adding another coaches to our pod. I mean, let's at least get to 500. They're 3-4, right?
Yeah.
I 4-3. We might think about it. Maybe if you get to 500, get yourself in the playoffs, and then we can talk a little bit. But on the outside looking in a game under 500, I don't think they qualify.
No. Plus, I don't think he would be able to pay the $1.2 million that Northern Arizona is currently paying us to be their official podcast.
All right, good to hear from Caskin, Flight, and Dwayne.
Located 8 miles south of Lake Linden on the Bojack Road, the Dreamland Restaurant is your choice for great dining. Family owned and operated for over 100 years. Whether you were in the mood for their Mexican Monday specials, burgers, pizza, or Friday fish fry, Dreamland is your next stop. We had a fish fry at Dreamland on Friday evening. It was delightful.
Did you?
Did, yeah. I haven't been out there in a while, but had a Friday night, so wife and I went out there, visited, had a real good time out there. You gonna listen to the lyrics now, Oj?
Are we there?
We are there. Getting to the end of that blue notebook still. We haven't got much. We haven't got much feedback on whether we should auction this off for charity or profit or anything.
Screw them.
Okay.
I'll keep it.
Put it with your science notebook from 9th grade.
So way back on episode 51, I played "Feeling Good Again," which was a song by Texas singer-songwriter Robert Earl Keen. It was his lone song on our my listen to lyrics list here.
We're not a team anymore.
Well, you do contribute because I wouldn't have begin to know how to put these up.
How to do the copyright violations?
Exactly. We're doing okay with that?
No, we got our PP whacked last week. I had to modify it.
Really?
Yeah. Every once in a while, the copyright police come in and
What'd they say?
that you're violating copyright law, and so I just kind of modify it a little bit.
How do you modify it?
We can't divulge secrets, but
They can't touch us, can they? Is it too long of a song?
yeah. So I just modified a couple seconds off of it, and I haven't heard back. So
All right. So anyway, that was Robert Earl Keen's lone song on the list until today. So Keen's biggest hit and most well-known song, it's about a waitress named Sherry and kind of a loner guy named Sonny. And they went on one hell of a journey. Talk about regrets. If Sonny would have just walked out of that bar or never walked in, who knows, his life would have been way more smooth than making the decision he did. And Sherry, all she had to do was just thank Sonny for sticking up for her and let him go on his way. It's a great story song and an ideal time to let the Highwayman sing it. So enjoy The Road Goes On Forever.
Episode 91 in the books, Oj. Time to hear from our people at Keweenaw Auto Body.
Listen to the Lyrics was brought to you by Keweenaw Auto Body, located on Pine Street in Calumet. They're your choice for quality collision and body repair since 1966. They are open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday and 8 to 12 on Saturday. Give them a call at 906-337-1203.
What we got coming down the line this week? Anything good?
I don't know. We got. I got to get a text message out. We had talked about an interview that we've been waiting for that I'd like to get, and February seemed to be the time to do it. So
Yep.
I'll get a text.
That'll be a good one. I actually had someone ask me if we had said person on just yet.
Okay. Well, I'll get a text out and see what we can do as far as that goes. We'll have to do it via Zoom, but we've done that before. So other than that,
Signing day on Wednesday.
trade deadline
Trade deadline, signing day.
Thursday. We are not far away, believe it or not, from pitchers and catchers reporting. Hard to believe looking outside of Studio One, but that's the situation. And Super Bowl week, so it'll be all the hype building up for Sunday.
All right. See you, Oj.
Talk to you later, Crouchy.